Well, good morning, Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking in this morning. It's not Wednesday recipe day. Actually, it's a rainy Saturday morning in Berwick, Maine. And I thought I'd try something different today. I'm going to make, if all goes well, a raisin cranberry bread that I am going to cook in the Crockpot. I saw these things on TV of how to use the Crockpot to make bread and other items, and I said, wow, that's not a bad idea. I don't have to heat up the kitchen and I can make bread. So it takes approximately 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours to do it in here. And it's really quite simple. Now, I just bought this one a little while ago because I needed the length to get the bread pan in there. And I bent up a little frame to keep the pan off the bottom. My own idea, because they just set the bread pan or whatever you're cooking in right on the bottom, but I thought I'd get better heating and more evenly if I could get the pan off the bottom, and that's what I'm doing, and I'm just kind of working it out. Made a couple loaves and it seems to work out pretty good. I will give a quickie on what goes in here. This is a cinnamon bread, and I'm with raisins, and I'm adding some cranberries to it also. You start off with a 1/2 cup of water, all right, and a teaspoon of salt. Excuse me, sugar. Let's get to the right stuff here. And then I'm using 1 packet of Flushman's yeast, which is 2.5 teaspoons full. And it seems to do the job. That's what I've used before, and I've had no problems with it. So I have the sugar in there. I warm the water up to get it up to about 100 degrees. Gonna put this in here. Gonna let it activate a little bit, and we'll go on from there, but I'm gonna read some more instructions here. Okay, so we have the yeast in there. We have the teaspoon of sugar. I have a 1/2 cup of milk standing by. 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. 2 tablespoons of melted butter, which I haven't melted yet. 2.5 cups of flour. 1 teaspoon of salt. And naturally, when we get to the point, we're going to put some raisins and some cranberries in there. But that's down the road quite a piece. So I'm going to let the yeast work a little bit and give a little stir in here to get it excited. And then I'll be back in a little bit. Once this works, maybe about 10 minutes or so, this will be ready to rock and roll here. Okay. I'll let that go for a bit, and Lloyd Dussault Sr. is going to turn off the camera for a minute or 2 or 3. Well, it appears we have some happy yeast. Seems to be working. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of brown sugar to the mix. Try to get that stirred in real good. All right. And the other 1/2 cup of milk. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did warm all the liquid ingredients up to about 100 degrees. The butter's been melted, so that's going to go in. And all right. Okay, let's see what we got here. We have the salt. I'm going to put the salt in with the flour right off the bat, and on my trusty whisk, just blend it in a little bit before I toss the rest of the stuff in. Not a big deal. There we go. All right, how much of this you're going to be able to see? I'm going to move some of my goodies out of the way while I'm running back and forth in front of the camera. I'm going to use my good old KitchenAid to mix the dough, but I'm going to start it by bringing everything right in here and mixing it. It says 2.5 cups, it says, and I'm holding off on some of the flour because you never know on this. Sometimes it's 2.5 cups, a little less or a little more. Amazingly, the weather, evidently moisture in the air, everything can affect the flour, how much it absorbs, I guess. All right. Got to get it wet here. Okay, I'll get a little bit more here and add some more flour. I got about a 1/4 cup left in there now. Let's see how this works out. It's coming along here. It's going to take a little bit more flour and the last of the liquid, I believe, by the looks of it. At least that's what I'm thinking, or pretty close to it. All right, in it goes. A little bit more. We're letting the machine do the work here in a minute or two. Yeah. It's still wet enough to add a little bit more here. I guess it's about as much of an art as it is a science. And a little bit of luck probably thrown in. All right, we're getting there. I think I'm going to try it just the way it is right now. Yep, get in there. See what the machine says. All right. I have a very small kitchen, so I have to improvise and move things around to get stuff done here. All right. Lock that down and turn the critter on. Yep. Seems to be doing what it's supposed to do. All right, hopefully I haven't missed anything on the recipe here. Yeah. Picking up everything pretty much off the bottom now and spooling it onto the hook, which is what I want, so everything gets blended in nicely. Okay, unlock the machine. Okay, I'm going to give it a little bit more. Let's see if we can't get that off the hook. Well, it's definitely sticky. All right, here. A little bit more here if I can. Loose. Might as well get it all if I can. All right, here. All right. I'll take this critter right out of here if I can. Come on. Come on, you can do it. And I have my plastic bowl here, which I have lightly lubricated with canola oil, I think it is. Excuse me, make that straightened out there, Lloyd. That's avocado oil. Get your oil straight. Anyways, set it in there. It's a little oil at the bottom. I'm just flipping it over to get just a little bit of an oil coating from there on it so it won't stick. I'll give you a look. See, I think you can see what it looks like right now. And I don't have a plastic cover, but this will do the trick. And now we are going to wait. Probably we'll try with a half an hour. Wait till it at least doubles in size, and then we'll go from there. But now we're just time for me to take a break, clean up my mess here up to this point, and hopefully we'll have some success when it comes out and try to roll it out and go the rest of the way. Well, I do start seeing you checking out and turning her off for a little bit. Well, I'm back. It's been just about an hour, and we got a beautiful rise on that. I'm going to give it a like that, and then hopefully I can remember how to do this properly. Well, I already got a problem. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of flour down here. I can hopefully work this. Well, that wasn't too smart, now was it? Yeah, we just add a little bit more to the mess. Okay, that should do the trick for the moment. Keep everything away. And then move this over a little bit to get a little extra room here. All right, and we're going to try to get that ball out of there, which it seems like it wants to do nicely so far. All right. All right. I'll do a little bit of folding here, but not too much. Okay. Hopefully I'll be able to roll this out. Get everything done properly here, maybe. One little quickie here. I cook my bread, like I said, in the crock pot. And I use the parchment paper, cut out a piece that's large enough to fit this, and so that it goes in properly and fits to the bottom, you take if you have one that's the same size, and you push it right down, and it molds the paper so your bread comes out pretty nice. Matter of fact, depending on the bread you're making, you sometimes can get a couple loaves out of the same container, and it's easy to come out, lift it out. We'll see when I get done. So I'll put this off to the side for a moment. Move my bowl out of the way that I don't need now, hopefully. Now, the trick is I want to roll this out long, and as wide as this here. So let's see what happens if I can start rolling it out. Yeah, I'm going to have to put a little bit of flour down, I do believe, here. Yep, a little bit. Believe me, this is not my strong point. Just hoping. Oh, gonna want to roll out eventually here. Okay, we're gaining on it, I think. The longer I can get this to roll, to get the width, the more I can, swirls I can pretty much get into it. The final rising is going to be done in the, like I said, I work on tight quarters here sometimes. Will be done in a crock pot. You start off with the crock pot cold, and then it rises as the crock pot starts to heat up. It works pretty slick. Yep. All right, let's see what we got here. They're a little bit wide. It's not critical. Now, if I can remember how to do this, I want to put some butter down. Avoiding the edges, pretty much so it rolls and sticks to itself, I hope. And people use an egg wash or milk wash, because they say, well, it works better. The butter doesn't, butter makes it looser when it cooks, and the bread can break apart. I haven't had that problem, so, and I love butter. I mean, it's not to love, right? Okay, here. I'm gonna, the mix is up to you, what you use was how you want to set up your cinnamon, basically. You can go like half and half with brown sugar and white sugar, or go heavier on the brown. The cinnamon flavor is up to what you think. I think maybe a jar this size, you probably get maybe a teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm not sure. No. There are videos on YouTube on how to mix up a batch. Spread it on there. Okay, raisins are what you want, I suppose. I think it's something like 3/4 of a cup if you put the raisins in when you mix the dough, so that at this point the raisins would be already in here. So that was about, I got about 3/4 of a cup of raisins right here. Yeah, this is going to be a raisin bread and then some. All right, I'm also gonna, I like cranberries, so I'm gonna sprinkle a few of those around with the helter-skelter, as it were. All right, that's pretty good shape here. Yep. All right. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of a little bit more on top here. Around so everybody sticks. Okay. Are we still on? Oh yes, I guess we are. Well, I want to try rolling this little critter, and hopefully it don't stick to my countertop. I just want to roll it in on itself here. Oh dear. That's it. I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit of flour around here so I can get this. There we go. I'm gonna pinch the ends a little bit. Roll them in on themselves. So far, so good. Let's see what we got here. Well, we're gonna have to squeeze it just a little bit, but in it's gonna go. There we go. Try to put the fold to the bottom if you can. The last roll part. All right. That is what it looks like right now. Now hopefully the miracle part takes place in about 2 hours. Check it in an hour and a half. And we'll see what we got. All right, roll the paper back so it doesn't crimp your bread. There we go. Get everybody down and out of the way. Put on the cover. Remember to turn it on right up to high. And we'll be back in about 2 hours, baby. Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out. Wish me luck. Well, it's been an hour and a half, and I'm going to take a quick peek here. Let's see what we got. I think it's going to need some more time myself. I'm going to check the temperature inside. All right, it's a little under 200 degrees, so we're going to have to go a little bit longer, so we'll be back in about 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes. We'll decide which one. I'll take another peek at it. So Lloyd Dussault Sr. taking a break again. It's almost done. Well, we're at 1 hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to take the cover off one more time here. I think we're there. At least I'm hoping we're there. If I can find the same spot I went in before. See if we're at least at 200. Come on. Get me up to 200 there, kiddo. Looks like 200 to me, and it looks like the alarm just went off. Oh, we're over 200. Over 200 degrees here, 220. Okay, so I am going to see if I can flip the paper up. It's a little warm in there, but I'm hoping that I can take that out of the pan just like that. Hopefully you can see it. And see what we have here? Look at that critter, will you? Remember to turn this off. Move it back. Now comes the magic part. It's going to go under the broiler to finish the top. We have some butter here. And I'm going to, hopefully you're getting all this wonderful stuff. I don't have a cameraman. I'm the cameraman, so I'm not much to write home about when it comes to working the camera, but I do the best I can here. So now that I have this all buttered up, it is going to be going into the oven. There we go. That smelled pretty good. When you make a raisin bread, it tends to gooey up the paper. A regular white bread, you wouldn't have that problem. You could use that paper over, no problem. All right. Okay. I'm not going to make you sit there and, I'd say sit there. I'm going to make you watch me wait and keep an eye on that thing. It's going to take a few minutes, and I'll let you know and bring it back, and we'll take a final look at it when it comes out from underneath the broiler. You really got to keep an eye on it when it's in the broiler, because in a matter of seconds it can have a disaster. So Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out, keeping an eye on the bread. Well, there it is out of the broiler. Browned up on the top pretty good. Now, I'm not going to cut it open and show you what it's supposed to look like, what it looks like, but I have one I made yesterday, and hopefully it's going to look like this, except I'm hoping it has a few more swirls in it. So, there we go. That's the whole nitty-gritty of this. And as I said, this one's going to be, I'm not cutting it open because I'm going to give it to a friend, and I wanted to give it to him in all in one piece. It's still cooling down, believe it or not. It's takes a while. You want to make sure it's nice and cool before you wrap it up, because if it's still cooling, it's going to be messy. It'll give out the steam, and it doesn't do it any good. So I think we have product. So Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out, and we'll finish this off and hopefully wrap it up and get it down to my friend's house. One more bread wrapped up. I plan to hopefully make more videos on bread making. There's different types of breads that I want to make, and we'll see what happens. I just saw Senior checking out. Enjoy the video.